I want you to do something for me right now. Just reach into your pocket or maybe look at your desk and pick up your smartphone.
Just grab it, feel the weight of it in your hand.
Yeah, look at that black slab of glass and really ask yourself, what is it?
I mean, for most of us, it's basically a very expensive distraction machine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's where we doom scroll, it's where we ignore emails, maybe where we order Thai food at 11 p.m. But if we look at the stack of research we have for today's deep dive, that definition is, well, it's about to change completely.
It really is. It's getting harder to ignore what that device is actually becoming.
Right. Because according to the sources we're unpacking today, that phone is currently morphing into a sophisticated clinical-grade medical device. And I don't mean, it counts your steps or reminds you to drink water.
We are way past step counters.
We are talking about a device that literally listens to the specific frequency of your lungs, scans the blood flow right beneath your facial skin, and checks your heart with the kind of precision you used to need an actual hospital visit for.
It is a massive shift. And before we get into the how, we really have to set the scene, because context is everything here.
Definitely.
It is February 24, 2026. We are virtually sitting right in the middle of Mobile World Congress, MWC, in Barcelona.
The absolute Super Bowl of smartphones.
It's the biggest show on earth for mobile tech, yeah.
Right.
Now, usually, if you walk the floor at MWC, everyone is just screaming about faster download speeds or 6G or, I don't know, foldable screens that wrap around your wrist like a slap bracelet.
Right. The hardware gimmicks.
Exactly. But this year, the conversation has completely pivoted. It's not about the connectivity anymore. It's about what rides on top of that connectivity.
Which brings us to the absolute star of today's deep dive. We are looking at a platform called Helfie AI.
Their tagline is incredibly bold. It's a health AI for everybody.
And when they say everybody, they mean it literally. 2 words. Everybody. To get to the bottom of this, we've pulled apart their technical documentation, the breakdown of their AI modules from their website, and we have a really fascinating industry analysis by Sheesh S.
That article is crucial.
Yeah, it gives us the whole why does this matter to the business world perspective right from the MWC floor.
Because it explains why major telecom operators, the people who sell you your data plan and who you usually only call to complain about a bill, are suddenly very, very interested in the sound of your cough.
So here is our mission for this deep dive. We need to figure out how a standard camera and microphone can potentially replace a trip to the clinic, and why your phone carrier might soon know more about your internal organs than your family doctor does.
It's a convergence of tech and biology that is honestly a little unsettling, but at the same time, it's incredibly promising.
Let's start with the user experience, because when I hear health app, my brain immediately goes to those old school symptom checkers.
Oh, the worst.
You know the ones. You type in, my head hurts and my knee clicks, and 3 clicks later, the internet has convinced you that you have some rare tropical disease and 24 hours to live.
The classic panic spiral. We've all been there.
Right.
But Helfie is pitching something fundamentally different. They aren't just processing text or your subjective descriptions of pain.
Right.
They are processing you. The source material emphasizes that this is about using the sensors already on your phone, the camera and the microphone, to gather raw biometric data.
So it's not relying on me to be the narrator, it's
That's
actually looking at me.
Exactly. It's objective data capture. It completely removes the unreliable narrator from the equation.
Let's break down the how then, because the list of conditions they claim to check is extensive. The sources mention over 20 health conditions. How does a phone camera do that without x-rays or blood draws?
It uses a combination of 3 main things: computer vision, audio signal analysis, and something called photoplethysmography.
Okay, hold on. Photoplethysmography, that is a $10 word. We need to unpack that immediately.
Let's just call it RPPG for short. It sounds complicated, but you actually see a version of it every time you use a flashlight. When you turn your phone flashlight on and put your finger over it, and your finger glows red.
Sure. It looks like E.T.
Exactly. That's showing you the blood flow inside your tissue. RPPG does that. But without you having to touch the lens and without the blinding light, it uses the high-definition camera to detect microscopic changes in the color of your skin, changes that are completely imperceptible to the human eye.
So wait, my skin color is changing right now.
Constantly. Every single time your heart beats, it pumps fresh, oxygenated blood into your capillaries. Your skin gets infinitesimally redder.
And then it fades.
Yeah, when the heart relaxes, it dims. So Helfie's AI just watches your face, tracks these microflushes, and calculates the timing.
So it's literally watching my face blush and unblush 60 times a minute.
Essentially, yes. And from that subtle data, the documentation says it can derive your blood pressure, blood oxygen, heart rate, and heart rate variability, or HRV. No cuffs squeezing your arm, no little clips on your finger, just the camera staring at you for a few seconds.
That feels incredibly sci-fi, to get blood pressure without the squeeze. That's the holy grail of wearables.
It really is. But the documentation lists vitals as just one pillar. The audio side blew my mind even more.
This is the respiratory stuff, right?
Yes, the respiratory analysis. This is where AI really shines over human capability. The app listens to your cough. Now, to you and me, a cough is just a cough. Maybe it sounds wet or dry or painful.
Right, it's just noise, usually annoying noise if you're trying to sleep.
But to an AI trained on millions of clinical samples, a cough is a rich data set. It has a specific frequency, a timbre, a duration, a pattern. By analyzing those sound waves, Helfie claims it can distinguish between asthma, croup, bronchitis, COPD, pneumonia, and even tuberculosis.
Tuberculosis, just from the sound of a cough.
That's what the technical breakdown says. It creates a cough AI profile. It's checking for specific acoustic biomarkers in the audio signal.
I suppose it makes sense when you think about it. A really good mechanic can tell what's wrong with a car just by listening to the engine hum. They hear a ping and they know it's a spark plug.
That's a perfect analogy.
This is just a mechanic with a database of millions of engines.
And because it's software, that database is constantly updated. If a new strain of a respiratory virus appears with a distinct sound profile, the AI can learn it overnight.
The list of conditions goes way beyond coughing, though. I was scrolling through the source material, and they have a whole section for women's health, specifically mentioning endometriosis AI. They have stroke risk under neurological health. They even have, and I admit I chuckled at this, poo AI.
I knew you'd bring that up.
How could I not? But jokes aside, gut health is massive right now.
It's a huge indicator of overall well-being. And specifically, they're talking about bowel cancer screening here. If an AI can analyze visual data, and yes, we mean photos of your stool to screen for blood or abnormalities early, that is an absolute lifesaver.
It's awkward, sure, but people are embarrassed to go to a doctor for that. They aren't embarrassed to use their phone in the bathroom.
Well, let's hope they aren't using the video call feature at the same time. But yes, it lowers the barrier to entry for testing drastically. Early detection is everything in cancer.
They also cover sexual health, screening for STIs via image analysis, and sleep analysis for things like apnea. It's like carrying a mini hospital in your pocket.
However, and I want to put a big flashing neon sign over this part, we need to talk about the disclaimer. Because I can see people downloading this app and immediately canceling their health insurance.
Yeah, please do not do that.
No. The source material is very, very specific. These are suspected or tentative indications. This is a triage tool. It is not a doctor replacement.
So it's a difference between the app saying you have cancer versus saying, hey, that mole looks irregular, and compared to 5 million other moles, it has a high probability of being problematic. Go see a specialist.
Precisely. It empowers you with data so you can have a high-level conversation with the doctor rather than walking into a clinic and just saying, I feel weird.
Yeah.
It bridges that massive gap between nothing is wrong and I'm in the ER.
Now, speaking of specialists, the interface description in the documentation was really interesting. It's not just one big health bot. They describe a general versus specialist architecture.
This is a really smart design choice. Think about walking into a real physical hospital. You don't walk straight into the operating theater or the cardiology lab. You start at reception or triage.
Right. You talk to a nurse first.
That's the general mode here.
Yeah.
It handles broad questions, synthesizes your basic info. But if the AI detects your questions are getting specific, say, about heart palpitations, it shifts modes automatically.
It tags in the expert.
It literally brings in the cardiologist AI, or the dermatologist AI, the urologist, the gynecologist. They even have a dietitian and a physical therapist AI. The source lists distinct AI personas for each medical vertical.
It sells the idea of having a whole medical team on retainer, which is a very expensive thing in the real world, having a cardiologist and a dietitian on speed dial, but it's completely scalable in software.
That's the core value proposition. It blends global medical knowledge, all the textbook stuff, with your specific real-time data. It's personalized intelligence.
So we've established the tech is impressive. It works, or at least the science behind it is sound. But let's zoom out back to Barcelona and the Mobile World Congress. Why is this the talk of the town?
It does seem out of place at first glance.
Usually MWC is about telcos selling 5G towers and enterprise network software. Why do they suddenly care about an app that checks my skin?
This is where we turn to that industry analysis by Shishas. regarding Helfie's presence at MWC 2026. You really have to understand the existential crisis that telcos are facing right now.
Crisis. My phone bill is huge. My carrier seems to be doing just fine.
They're profitable, sure, but their growth is basically dead. It's flatlined. Traditional voice and data have become commodities. Let's be honest. Do you actually care who provides your 5G as long as it works and it's cheap?
Not really. I'd switch tomorrow for a $10 discount.
Exactly. There's zero brand loyalty. Telcos are absolutely terrified of becoming just dumb pipes. Utilities that provide the infrastructure, while companies like Google, Facebook, or Helfie build the highly profitable platforms on top of their wires.
Being a utility is safe, but it's not where the massive growth is.
Right. They want to stop being a utility and start being a platform. And Helfie represents a golden ticket for that transition.
How, though? Just by bundling the app.
Think about user engagement. How often do you open your actual carrier's app? The one from AT&T or Vodafone or whoever?
Literally never. Maybe once a year to check why my bill went up or to check my roaming data. It's a chore.
It's a grudge purchase. But how often do you check your health? Or how often should you? If a telco integrates Helfie into their super app, suddenly you are opening that app every single morning.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You're checking, what's my heart rate variability today? Let me scan this weird bite on my arm.
Yeah.
How is my sleep score?
Ah, I see. It creates what the source calls emotional stickiness.
Emotional stickiness is the perfect term for it. It reduces churn. If I switch carriers to save $10, I lose my entire health history. I lose my doctor. A carrier that actively looks after your physical well-being creates a much deeper, stickier relationship than one that just sells you gigabytes.
And I assume the monetization isn't just, please don't leave us. There's actual cash to be made here.
Huge potential. The source outlines several different business models. They could bundle these health checks into premium data plans, like sign up for the Pro plan and get unlimited AI health screenings for your whole family.
Or a pay-per-cough model.
Microtransactions, yes.
Yeah.
Pay-per assessment. Or, and this is the really big one, partnerships with insurers.
Oh, right. If I'm constantly scanning myself and proving I'm healthy, maybe my premiums go down.
And the telco sits right in the middle. They facilitate the data transfer. They take a cut. It effectively turns the telco into a health broker.
This also ties directly into the tech infrastructure itself, doesn't it? We keep hearing about edge computing at these tech conferences. It usually sounds like buzzword soup to me.
Yeah.
Is Helfie actually using that, or is it just marketing fluff?
No, for this specific use case, edge computing is actually critical. Think about the types of data we just discussed. High-res video of your skin, audio files of coughs, real-time blood flow analysis.
That's heavy data. Lots of megabytes.
It is. And if you're waiting for a stroke risk analysis, you do not want to see a loading spinner buffering. You need speed. You need incredibly low latency.
So edge means what, exactly? For the listener who isn't a cloud network engineer.
Okay, let's use a food analogy. Imagine ordering a pizza. The traditional cloud is like a massive industrial kitchen in another country. It can make anything, but it takes a long time to get the pizza delivered all the way to your door.
Cold pizza, bad user experience.
Exactly. Edge computing is like having a fully equipped food truck parked right in your driveway. The telco processes your health data at the edge of the network, literally at the cell tower down your street, rather than sending it halfway around the world to a central server farm.
Faster pizza, faster diagnosis.
Spot on. It allows for instant inference. You cough, and the result is there immediately. And this gives telcos a real-world use case to show off why 5G actually matters beyond just downloading movies faster. It validates their massive infrastructure spend.
There's also a really touching point in the sources about public health and global impact. We're sitting here talking about high-tech monetization, but what about low-access areas?
This is where the digital inclusion aspect really shines. It's a sad reality that in many emerging markets, smartphone penetration is actually much higher than access to primary healthcare facilities. There are billions of people who have a smartphone in their pocket, but might be a full day's travel from the nearest clinic.
So the phone literally becomes the primary care facility.
It becomes the first line of defense. By partnering with platforms like Helfie, telcos in regions like Africa, India, or Southeast Asia can position themselves as partners in preventative care. It's not just about profit, it's about fundamentally upgrading public health infrastructure.
The source also mentions that Helfie is part of the Microsoft for Startups booth at MWC.
Right, which signals that big tech sees this scalability too. It's a huge validation of the tech.
Okay, I'm going to stop the optimism train for just a second.
Here comes the paranoia. I was waiting for it.
It's not paranoia if they're really watching you. Look, I'm giving my phone video of my body. naked skin potentially. I am recording my coughs. I'm giving it my heart rate patterns. This is the most intimate, personal data I possess. And we're talking about giving it to an app and a telco. The creep factor is absolutely off the charts.
It is the natural reaction. I'd honestly be worried if you didn't feel that way. And the sources address this head on. Helfie takes a very aggressive stance on data privacy. Their official motto is, it's your data, not their commodity.
Which sounds great on a billboard, but what does it actually mean in the code?
They explicitly state that they do not use your data to push products or target ads. They aren't mining the sound of your cough to sell you targeted ads for cough syrup.
That's a relief, because the modern internet model is basically, here is a free service in exchange for your soul, or at least your browsing history.
Helfie is actively trying to break that model. They introduced something called the DHAP, the Decentralized Human Architecture Protocol.
Okay, DHAP sounds very cyberpunk. What is it?
The source describes it as a game-changing way of thinking about health data, comparing it to the invention of the internet itself. It's all about decentralization. Instead of your health data sitting in one giant honeypot server that hackers are constantly drooling over, the user retains ownership and control.
And this brings us back to the telcos, strangely enough. Why would I trust a telecom company with this? I mean, I trust them to connect my call, but to guard my DNA.
The Sheesh S article makes a really fascinating point about trust hierarchies. Who do you actually trust more, a random app developer you found on the App Store or your mobile carrier?
I mean, I don't love my carrier, but I trust them not to leak my call logs. They are heavily regulated.
Exactly. Telcos already handle your sensitive info, your identity, your billing, your location history. They have incredibly mature compliance and cybersecurity teams. They are terrified of regulators.
That's very true. A random startup might move fast and break things, but a telco really can't afford to break the law.
The argument is that the telco network can act as a trusted environment, or a trust layer. It distinguishes this service from the Wild West of the open internet. If your health AI is running inside the secure perimeter of a regulated telco, that adds a layer of safety that simply downloading a random app doesn't offer.
So the telco becomes the vault.
The vault and the gateway.
It's a compelling vision. You have this crazy convergence of advanced AI sensors, the sheer ubiquity of the smartphone, and the massive infrastructure of global telecoms all coming together in Barcelona to basically try to save our lives.
And it represents a fundamental shift in how we treat the human body. We are moving away from sick care, fixing things only when they finally break, to true preventative health available to 8 billion people instantly.
It really changes the way I look at this device in my hand. It's not just for memes and emails anymore.
It's becoming a guardian.
But here's the thought I want to leave you with, listeners, and it's something the sources hint at but don't explicitly ask. We are rapidly moving toward a future where your phone carrier potentially knows more about your physical health, your heart rate, your lung capacity than your family doctor does.
That is the new reality.
If the network is no longer just carrying your voice, but actually analyzing it for disease, does that redefine what it means to be connected? Are we connected to each other, or are we becoming connected to a global diagnostic machine?
That is the question of the decade.
Definitely something to chew on while you wait for your next 5G signal. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.